The midday sun was bright over the colony port of Origa 4, but Liam hardly noticed. He had his head deep inside the belly of an old cargo freighter, hands covered in grease, as the hum of machinery filled the air. Fixing ships wasn't glamorous, but it was steady work, and on the edge of the galaxy, steady was rare. He was adjusting a stubborn power conduit when he heard a soft voice behind him. "My mom died today. Can I spend the day with you, human?" The wrench nearly slipped from his hand. Slowly, he turned around. Standing a few feet away was a girl, maybe 14 or 15 in human years, though her alien features made it hard to tell exactly. Her skin was pale blue, patterned with faint silver markings that caught the sunlight. Her eyes were large, deep violet, and filled with something Liam recognized. Not just sadness, but the hollow kind that came when a person didn't know what to do next. Liam straightened, wiping his hands on his coveralls. "What?" She shifted her weight nervously. I don't have anywhere to go, and I thought, maybe you wouldn't mind if I stayed near you, just for today." Liam blinked. "You don't know me." "I don't have to," she replied, quietly. "My mother told me, if anything happens to her, I should find a human. She said they would help." He didn't know what to say to that. Most folks on Origa 4 kept to their own kind. Humans stuck with humans, Varen with Varen, Drath with Drath. And her kind, the Lunari, were even more private than most. They rarely spoke to outsiders. "Look," Liam said slowly, "this port isn't exactly the safest place. You walk around alone, people might start asking questions you don't want to answer. So, if you're going to stick with me, stay close." She nodded immediately, as if she'd been holding her breath waiting for him to agree. "Okay," he glanced toward the open hangar doors where the marketplace stretched beyond. "Come on, I was just about done here anyway." They walked side by side into the crowded market district. Traders shouted over one another, selling spices, engine parts, alien fruits that smelled both sweet and strange. People of every shape and size passed by, scaled, furred, feathered, smooth-skinned. But Liam couldn't help noticing how they looked at the girl, some with pity, some with disapproval. Some quickly looked away, as if pretending they hadn't noticed her at all. She kept her head down, hands clasped in front of her. "What's your name?" Liam asked as they moved past a stall selling shimmering cloth. "Sarai," she said softly. "What's yours?" "Liam." They stopped at a food vendor where Liam bought 2 skewers of something grilled and savory. He handed one to her. She hesitated before taking it, almost like she wasn't sure if she was allowed. "You eat, right?" he asked. Her lips twitched in the smallest smile. "Yes." They stood off to the side, eating in silence for a few moments. Liam didn't want to push, but curiosity was gnawing at him. "Sarai, what happened?" "To your mom, I mean." Her grip on the skewer tightened. She didn't just die. Someone made sure she wouldn't come back." Liam frowned. "You mean assassins?" she whispered, glancing around as if afraid the word itself might draw them out. "My mother, she was part of something. Something dangerous to powerful people." Liam studied her carefully. "And now those people might come after you." Sarai didn't answer, but her silence was answer enough. After they finished eating, Liam decided to take a different route back to the shipyard. He had a feeling they were being watched. It wasn't paranoia. Years working in fringe colonies had taught him the difference between a busy crowd and a tail. He slowed slightly, pretending to look at a display of engine coils, and caught movement in the reflection of a polished panel. 2 figures, tall, draped in dark cloaks, keeping the same pace they had been for several minutes. He turned to Sarai. "Change of plan? I've got something to show you." Her eyes searched his face. "Are we being followed?" "Yeah, but don't look. And don't run. Just stay close." "Like I told you." Instead of heading back to the open hangars, Liam led her down a narrow service alley between two storage depots. It smelled faintly of oil and ozone. At the far end was a door marked Maintenance Only. Liam keyed it open and ushered her inside. The small workshop was filled with scattered tools, half-assembled drones, and the faint hum of a repair unit in the corner. Liam locked the door behind them. "This is your ship?" she asked. "Nah, just a side space I rent for personal projects." He pulled a pair of stools toward a workbench. "We'll stay here for a bit. See if they move on." Sarai sat, her hands fidgeting in her lap. After a moment, she asked, "Why are you helping me? You don't even know who I am." Liam leaned against the workbench, crossing his arms. "Because you asked. And because your mother was right. Most humans I know don't turn their backs on someone in trouble." Her eyes glistened, but she didn't cry. Instead, she straightened and said, "Then, thank you." They waited nearly an hour before Liam decided it was safe to move. When they stepped back out into the alley, the cloaked figures were gone, but Liam knew that didn't mean they'd given up. He glanced down at her. "You sure you want to stay near me? Once we're seen together, they'll start coming after me too." Sarai looked up at him, determination in her violet eyes. "I don't want anyone else to die because of me, but I also don't want to be alone." Liam sighed. "Then you're stuck with me. Come on, let's get back before the port lights dim." As they walked back toward the shipyard, Liam couldn't shake the feeling that this quiet, pale blue girl was carrying a story far bigger than she was letting on, and somehow he knew that by letting her stay close, he'd just stepped into it. The next morning, the colony port was quieter. The market stalls were just opening, the air still cool from the night. Liam stood in the corner of the shipyard, checking over the fuel lines on a short-range hauler. Sarai sat on a nearby crate, watching him work without saying much. She'd hardly spoken since yesterday. She ate the food he gave her, followed when he told her to, but her mind was somewhere else, far away, in the shadow of something she wasn't ready to say. Liam tightened the last bolt and set down his tools. "All right," he said, wiping his hands. "We need to talk about yesterday." Sarai didn't look up. "What about it?" "Those two cloaked figures weren't just curious shoppers," Liam said. "They were watching us. I don't like being watched, and I'm guessing you don't either." Finally, she met his eyes. "They've been following me since the night my mother died." Liam frowned. "And you didn't think to mention that sooner?" "Would you have let me stay if you knew?" she asked softly. He thought about it. Honestly, he probably still would have. But it was better she didn't know that yet. They left the shipyard and headed toward a supply shop on the far side of the port. Liam wanted to pick up a few parts for his own ship, and maybe some extra supplies, just in case they had to leave quickly. As they walked through the streets, Liam kept scanning their surroundings. It didn't take long before he spotted a familiar silhouette. One of the cloaked watchers was standing in a side alley, pretending to check a communicator but keeping his head angled toward them. Liam bent slightly toward Sarai without breaking. Stride. "Don't react, but one of them's here again." Her voice was low. "What do we do?" "We keep moving like nothing's wrong, and then we make it hard for him to follow." They entered the supply shop, a narrow place with shelves stacked high with metal parts, circuit boards, and sealed food packets. Liam greeted the shopkeeper, an old human named Marta, who had been on Auriga 4 longer than anyone could remember. "You still selling that backroom scrap?" Liam asked casually. Marta's eyes flicked to Sarai, then back to Liam. "Only for certain customers." Liam grinned. "Good, we'll take a look." She led them into the back room, which was cluttered with old machinery and half-broken drones. Once the door closed, Liam whispered, "There's someone tailing us. Think you can let us out the side?" Marta didn't even hesitate. Go through the storage hatch. Takes you out behind the coolant plant. Within minutes, they were slipping through a narrow corridor lined with crates and out into a quieter back lane. Sarai glanced behind them, but no one was there. "Thanks," Liam said as they put distance between themselves and the shop. "Now, can you finally tell me why they want you?" They stopped near an abandoned freight platform where no one else was around. Sarai took a deep breath. "My mother wasn't just a traitor. She was part of the resistance." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Resistance?" "Against the High Council of Lunaris," she said. "They've ruled for centuries, but they've grown corrupt. They take from our people, silence those who speak out. My mother had proof, documents, recordings, all hidden away. She was going to bring them to the Galactic Council." Liam nodded slowly. "And the people following you, they're from the High Council?" "They're hunters," Sarai confirmed. "When my mother didn't come home, I knew they'd come for me next." Liam leaned against the rusted railing, thinking. "So you've got enemies who don't want the truth getting out, and you've got no one else you can trust." Sarai looked down. "Except you." Her words caught him off guard more than he expected. "You sure about that?" "You didn't turn me away," she said simply. "That's enough." They decided to avoid the central port entirely and took a detour through the lower maintenance decks, where workers repaired cargo lifters and storage drones. The air smelled of fuel and metal dust, but it was quieter, safer, or so Liam thought. As they passed through a wide loading bay, a voice called out, "You there! Human!" Liam turned. The cloaked figure from earlier stepped out of the shadows, and now there was no mistaking the intent in his posture. Two more shapes emerged from behind stacked crates, blocking the far exit. Sarai stiffened. "It's them!" Liam took a slow step forward, putting himself between her and the hunters. "You've been following us," he said flatly. "What do you want?" The lead figure's voice was low and cold. "The girl. She carries something that doesn't belong to her." "Funny," Liam said. "Last I checked, her life belongs to her." Without another word, the hunters moved in. Liam wasn't a soldier, but years in rough colonies had taught him to think fast. He grabbed a loose tool from a nearby workbench, a heavy spanner, and swung it hard into the nearest attacker's arm. The hunter staggered, giving Liam enough time to shove him into a stack of crates. "Run!" he shouted to Sarai. She darted toward the side of the loading bay, weaving between machinery. Liam followed, knocking over anything he could to slow their pursuers. They ducked through a half-open door into a narrow corridor, the sound of boots echoing behind them. "This way!" Sarai pointed, leading him toward a lift at the far end. They dove inside, just as one of the hunters rounded the corner. "The lift!" Doors slid shut, and Liam hit the highest deck number he could find. The lift opened into an observation level overlooking the entire port. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, casting long shadows across the floor. They hurried along the glass wall, breathing hard. Liam glanced at Sarai. "That proof your mom had? You still have it?" She hesitated. "Not with me. It's hidden. But they think I do, and they won't stop until they're sure." Liam ran a hand through his hair. "Then we need to get you off this planet. Auriga 4's too small. Too easy to track someone." Sarai's voice was almost a whisper. "Where would we go?" "Somewhere they won't expect," Liam said. "And somewhere with people who still owe humans a favor or two." Sarai managed the faintest smile. "Then I'm staying close." "Good," Liam said, looking out over the busy docks below. "Because from here on out, we stick together, no matter what." Liam didn't waste time after their close call in the observation level. "Come on," he told Sarai, steering her toward the service stairs. "If we want to get out, we can't go back to the main hangars. They'll have people waiting." Sarai followed without question, her eyes darting to every shadow. "Do you have a ship?" "Yeah," Liam said. "Small, nothing fancy, but she's fast when she needs to be." They took a winding path through the upper decks, avoiding the main lifts and crowded walkways. Liam knew the port well enough to find blind spots the security cameras didn't. Cover, places the hunters would have trouble predicting. Finally, they reached the outer maintenance sector where the smell of fuel was stronger and the lights were dim. Liam's ship was tucked at the far end of a narrow docking tunnel, half hidden behind stacks of shipping crates. The Silver Gull wasn't much to look at. Its hull was scuffed and dented, a few panels mismatched from quick repairs. But Liam had spent years keeping it running, and he trusted it more than any person in this port. He unlocked the hatch and gestured for Sarai to climb in. "Strap in," he said. "We'll be lifting off fast." Inside, the ship's cockpit was compact, with just 2 seats up front. Sarai slid into the co-pilot's chair and fastened the restraints. Liam began flipping switches, the engine's low hum building into a steady roar. As they powered up, Sarai glanced at the navigation display. "If they're after us, won't they track us?" "Oh, they'll try," Liam said. "But we're not going to make it easy." Just as the Silver Gull lifted from the docking clamps, a sharp voice crackled through the port's comm system. "Unauthorized launch detected. Vessel, identify yourself and power down immediately." Liam ignored it. "Hold on." He pushed the throttle forward, and the ship surged out of the docking tunnel into open sky. The city below shrank quickly as they climbed toward the upper atmosphere. They didn't make it far before 2 sleek interceptors appeared on the radar, moving fast to cut them off. Sarai's voice was tense. "Those aren't port security ships." "Nope," Liam said. "Hunters' crafts, faster than us in a straight line, but not as tough." "So what's the plan?" Liam grinned slightly. "We don't go in a straight line." He yanked the control stick, sending the Silver Gull into a sudden dive toward a cluster of storm clouds below. The interceptors followed, their weapons systems beginning to lock on. Lightning flickered inside the clouds as they plunged through, the turbulence rattling the ship. The storm broke over a stretch of jagged mountains, their peaks capped with snow. Liam threaded the ship between narrow valleys, forcing the interceptors to slow down to avoid crashing. Sarai kept her eyes on the engine readouts. "Rear stabilizer's running hot," she warned. "If it overheats, you'll lose yaw control." Liam gave her a quick glance. "You know engine systems?" "My mother taught me," she said simply. He didn't have time to ask more. One of the interceptors had looped around and was firing short bursts from its cannons. Glowing projectiles tore through the air behind them, exploding against the rock walls. Liam spotted an opening ahead, a wide gorge leading toward the planet's northern ice plains. "Hang on," he said again, throwing the ship into a barrel roll to dodge incoming fire. The Silver Gull shot through the gorge at breakneck speed, the interceptors struggling to match their maneuver. Sarai's hands flew over the auxiliary controls, diverting more power to the rear shields. "Shields holding," she reported. "But only just." A sudden beeping warned of a missile lock. Liam swore under his breath and pulled the ship up sharply, clearing the gorge and breaking into open air. He rolled hard left, skimming the surface of a frozen lake, then, at the last second, dropped 2 countermeasure flares. The missile slammed into one of the flares, exploding in a flash of heat and smoke. One interceptor pulled away, its systems clearly damaged. The other stayed on their tail. Liam scanned the terrain ahead and spotted a narrow canyon cutting through the ice plains. "We're going in there." "It's too narrow," Sarai warned. "For them, maybe," Liam said, grinning. "For us?" "Just right." The Silver Gull plunged into the canyon, icy walls flashing past on either side. The remaining interceptor tried to follow, but it clipped one wing on the canyon wall and spun out of control, crashing in a distant plume of snow and fire. "And that," Liam said, easing the ship upward, "is why you never chase a pilot into his own backyard," Sarai looked at him, a mix of awe and relief in her eyes. You're actually good at this? Don't sound so surprised, Liam replied with a small smile. Now let's get into orbit before they send more. Once they broke free of the atmosphere, Liam set a course toward the outer system. The stars stretched into streaks as the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel. Only then did he relax slightly, leaning back in his chair. We bought ourselves some breathing room. Question is, where do we go now? Sarai didn't answer immediately. She stared at the star field outside, her expression thoughtful. There's a place, she said finally, but it's dangerous. So's everywhere you've been lately. It's an old mining station in the belt of the Lunari home system. My mother hid something there, something important. If we get it, we can prove what she was fighting for. Liam rubbed his chin. Let me guess. The hunters know about it too. She nodded. Probably, but they can't get to it without the access codes. Only my mother and I knew them. Liam considered this. Then we'd better get there first. Sarai glanced at him, her voice quiet. You really mean to help me with this? You asked me to let you stay close, Liam said, meeting her gaze. That means I'm in it until the end. For a long moment, she didn't look away. Then, slowly, she nodded. All right. I'll tell you everything. Liam smiled faintly and adjusted their course. Good. Because I have a feeling the real trouble hasn't even started yet. The stars ahead shimmered, the hum of the engines. Steady and somewhere deep inside, Liam knew whatever lay at that mining station was going to change everything. The silver gull emerged from faster-than-light travel with a low hum, the stars snapping back into place. In front of them floated the Lunari system, a cold stretch of space dotted with faint asteroid belts and icy moons. The mining station was somewhere in that belt, a relic from decades ago when the Lunari mined rare minerals before moving operations closer to their homeworld. Liam sat forward in the pilot's chair. There it is. The station appeared as a dark silhouette against the backdrop of glittering asteroids. Its outer structure was battered and worn, some sections unlit, others flickering weakly. It looked abandoned, exactly what Liam had hoped for. Are you sure your mother left the data here? Liam asked. Sarai nodded. It's in a secured compartment on Level 3, Section B. The access code is unique to my family line. No one else can open it. Liam kept his eyes on the scanner. Well, let's hope no one's camping out in there. As they approached, the ship's proximity alarm gave a soft warning ping. Liam frowned and tapped the console. That's odd. Getting a faint energy signature. What kind? Sarai asked, her voice tightening. Small craft, Liam said. Docked on the far side of the station. Sarai leaned forward. Hunters? Probably, Liam replied. But just one ship. Maybe we can slip in without them noticing. He guided the silver gull to the opposite docking bay, using the station's bulk to hide their approach. The docking clamps engaged with a dull thud, and the airlock hissed open to reveal a dimly lit corridor. Stay close, Liam said quietly. Always, she replied. Inside, the station smelled of dust and stale air. Their footsteps echoed in the long metal corridors. Most of the overhead lights were dead, leaving pockets of darkness between working lamps. Liam's hand rested near his holstered sidearm, though he hoped not to use it. As they moved toward Section B, Sarai's memory of the station guided them. She pointed out turns and side passages, avoiding areas that looked unstable or blocked by debris. Halfway there, a faint clatter echoed through the corridor behind them. Liam stopped. We're not alone. Sarai's eyes flicked toward the sound. They know we're here. They hurried their pace, moving quickly past rows of abandoned storage rooms. Finally, they reached Section B, a wide chamber lined with tall, empty crates and old mining equipment. At the far wall was a sealed compartment door, its control panel dim but functional. That's it, Sarai whispered. She stepped forward and placed her palm against the panel. A soft blue light scanned her hand, and the door slid open with a hiss. Inside was a narrow vault lined with shelves. Most were empty, but at the center was a small metallic case. Sarai reached for it carefully, her hands steady despite the tension. "This is it. My mother's work." "Good," Liam said. "Now let's—" A voice cut him off. "You're not going anywhere." 3 figures stepped into the chamber entrance, 2 armed hunters flanking a tall Lunari male with deep, silver markings along his skin. His expression was calm, almost polite, but his eyes were cold. "Sarai," he said in a low voice. "You should have stayed hidden. And let you destroy everything my mother fought for?" she replied sharply. "Never." The Lunari man's gaze shifted to Liam. "And you, human, you don't understand the scale of what you've stepped into." Liam shrugged. "I've got a pretty good idea." The man's eyes narrowed. "Then you know you can't leave with that case." Before Liam could respond, Sarai moved. With surprising speed, she hit the vault's control panel, sealing the door between them and the hunters. The heavy metal slab slid shut, locking with a loud clang. Liam blinked. "You could have warned me." "No time," she said. "There's another way out." They raced through a narrow side corridor, the sound of the hunters forcing the vault door echoing behind them. The side passage led them to an old maintenance shaft. Liam pried the hatch open and they climbed inside, descending several levels into the station's lower structure. The maintenance shaft ended in a forgotten docking tunnel, its outer hatch still sealed. Through a small viewport, Liam could see the hunter ship on the far side of the station, a sleek black craft with sharp predatory lines. Sarai glanced at him. "What now?" Liam smirked. "We make sure they can't follow." He pulled a small toolkit from his belt and began working on the tunnel's external systems. Within minutes, he'd overridden the docking clamps for the hunter ship remotely. Through the viewport, they watched as the clamps released and the ship drifted slowly away from the station. "That'll buy us a few minutes," Liam said. "Let's get back to the Silver Gull." Getting back wasn't easy. The hunters had split up, their footsteps and distant voices echoing through the halls. Liam and Sarai moved carefully, keeping to the shadows and ducking into side rooms whenever they heard movement. At one point, they had to freeze as one of the hunters passed within a few feet of them, scanning the corridor with a handheld device. Only when he moved on did they slip out and continue toward their docking bay. Finally, the Silver Gull came into sight through the dim lights of the bay. Liam keyed the hatch open and they rushed inside. The engines roared to life, their hum a comforting sound. "Strap in," Liam said as he took the pilot's seat. Sarai settled into the co-pilot's chair, clutching the metallic case in her lap as they undocked. The hunter ship, now re-engaged with the station, appeared on their scanners again. It launched quickly, chasing them through the asteroid belt. "Hold on," Liam said, weaving the Silver Gull between tumbling rocks. Chunks of ice and stone drifted lazily, but their sheer size could crush a ship in seconds if hit. Sarai monitored the scanner. "They're gaining," Liam grinned. "Good. I want them closer." He guided the Silver Gull toward a massive asteroid with a deep crater. At the last second, he dove into the crater's shadows, cutting the engines. The ship drifted silently as the hunter craft streaked past, unable to track them. Once the hunter ship was out of sight, Liam reignited the engines and veered away from the belt. With the station behind them and the metallic case safe, Liam exhaled slowly. "We made it," Sarai nodded, though her grip on the case didn't loosen. "This isn't over. They won't stop." "No," Liam agreed. "But now we've got something worth fighting over." She glanced at him, her voice quiet but certain. "And we've got each other." Liam gave a small smile. "Stay close, remember?" "Always," she said. And together they set their course for the next step, taking her mother's proof to someone who could change the galaxy. The silver gull drifted out of the asteroid belt and into the quiet stretch of deep space. Stars glimmered like cold lanterns, the only light in the dark. Liam adjusted their course toward a set of hidden coordinates he knew by heart. Where? Are we going? Sarai asked, still holding the metallic case close. A human outpost, Liam said. Not on any official charts. Old military station from the war years. Most of the galaxy forgot it exists. Sarai tilted her head. Why? There? Because the people running it still owe me, Liam replied. And because it's the safest place to figure out what's inside that case. Hours later, the black void shifted to reveal a faint glimmer. The outline of an old station, its dark hull blending almost perfectly into the star field. As they approached, lights flickered on in greeting. A voice came through the comms. This is Outpost Calder. State your name and purpose. Liam smiled faintly. Tell Captain Reese that Liam's here, and that he brought a guest. There was a pause. Then the voice returned, warmer this time. Dock at Bay 3. Welcome back, Liam. Bay 3's doors opened slowly, and the silver gull eased inside. The moment they stepped onto the deck, a tall, broad-shouldered man in a faded captain's coat strode forward. His face was weathered, but his eyes were sharp. Liam, you old troublemaker, Captain Reese said with a grin. You never come unless you're running from something. Liam returned the grin. You know me too well. Reese's gaze shifted to Sarai, his expression softening. And who's this? Sarai, Liam said. She's a friend, and she's carrying something important. Sarai gave a small nod. Nice to meet you. Reese studied her for a moment, then motioned toward the interior halls. Let's talk somewhere private. They sat in a small meeting room overlooking the docking bay. Liam set the metallic case on the table, and Sarai placed her hand on the biometric lock. The case clicked open, revealing a small data core. A device no larger than a human palm, its surface etched with glowing lines. Sarai's voice was steady. This holds evidence my mother gathered. Recordings, documents, everything proving the High Council's corruption. Reese leaned forward, his tone serious now. And you think this is enough to bring them down? Yes, Sarai said. But the hunters will do anything to destroy it. They already... She stopped, her voice catching. They already killed her for it. Liam spoke quietly. We need your help, Reese. A secure channel to the Galactic Council. Somewhere. The hunters can't intercept. Reese leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin. You know that's risky, Liam. The Council isn't exactly quick to move, especially against a major power like the Lunari. And if word gets out we're involved, this outpost becomes a target. Liam met his gaze. I wouldn't ask if it wasn't worth it. Reese was silent for a long moment, then nodded. All right, I'll set up a secure transfer, but it'll take a few hours to route through enough relays. Sarai exhaled in relief. Thank you. While Reese made arrangements, Liam showed Sarai around the outpost. It wasn't large, a handful of docking bays, crew quarters, and a command center. Most of the crew were retired soldiers, mechanics, and traders who'd decided to live off the grid. Sarai noticed something as they walked. The humans here treated her differently than she was used to. No cold stares, no whispered comments. They nodded in greeting, some even smiling at her. People here don't look at me like I'm... Wrong, she said quietly. That's because they remember what your mother did, Liam replied. Sarai glanced at him. What do you mean? Liam hesitated, then sighed. Reese told me once, years ago, during the Outer Rim crisis, your mother saved a human colony from being wiped out. She wasn't ordered to. She didn't gain anything from it. She just helped. Sarai's eyes softened. She never told me. Maybe she didn't think it mattered, Liam said. But to the people she saved, it mattered more than anything. Later, in the mess hall, Reese found them, His expression was unreadable. "The secure channel is ready," he said. "But there's a problem." Liam straightened. "What kind of problem?" "Someone here sent a signal out an hour ago," Reese said. "Encrypted, but we traced it. It's a beacon, and it's pointed straight toward the Lunari hunters." Sarai's stomach dropped. "Someone here betrayed us?" Reese nodded grimly. "And if I'm right, they'll be here within the next 30 minutes. The three of them hurried back to the meeting room. Liam grabbed the data core, slipping it into an inner pocket. "We can't stay," he said. "They'll overwhelm the station." Reese's jaw tightened. "I can buy you time. Take Bay 2. There's a maintenance corridor that leads straight to your ship." Sarai looked at him. "What about you?" "Don't worry about me," Reese said with a faint smile. "This old station's been through worse." As they moved quickly through the corridor, Liam kept glancing behind them. "I don't like this. The hunters shouldn't have been able to find us this fast." Sarai's voice was quiet, but firm. "The traitor must have known who I was from the moment we arrived." They reached the docking bay just as the station's alarms began to blare. The Silver Gull sat ready, its engines warmed from standby mode. Liam motioned for Sarai to climb aboard. "Go! I'll be right behind you." Just as he turned to follow, a figure stepped out from behind a cargo crate, a human crewman holding a small pistol. "Hand over the core," the man said coldly. Liam froze. "You're the one who sent the signal." The man sneered. "You think I'd pass up a payday this big? The hunters are paying more than this station could in 10 lifetimes. Before Liam could respond, Sarai stepped out from the Silver Gull's hatch, her eyes locked on the traitor. "You think selling me out will make you rich?" she said. "The hunters don't share rewards. They erase liabilities." The man hesitated, just long enough for Liam to lunge forward. He knocked the pistol from the man's hand and shoved him hard against the crate. The weapon clattered to the floor and Sarai kicked it away. "Let's go!" Liam shouted. They scrambled into the Silver Gull and sealed the hatch. Moments later, the ship lifted off, shooting out of the bay just as several hunter ships dropped. Out of faster-than-light travel in the distance, from the cockpit, they watched the outpost shrink behind them. Liam gripped the controls tightly. "We can't go to the council directly now," he said. "They'll be watching every route." Sarai nodded, her jaw set. "Then we find another way." Liam glanced at her, then at the stars ahead. "And we will, together." As the Silver Gull jumped back into the void, the data core safe in Liam's pocket, they both knew the final confrontation was coming, and that it would decide the fate of more than just the two of them. The Silver Gull raced through deep space, its engines pushing to the limit. Liam kept his eyes on the navigation display, charting a path that zigzagged through asteroid fields and empty star systems. They were being chased, but he intended to make it as hard as possible for the hunters. Sarai sat in the co-pilot's seat, the metallic case now locked in the ship's secure compartment. "We can't run forever," she said softly. "I know," Liam replied, "but we can choose where we make our stand." She turned her gaze to the stars. "And where would that be?" Liam's fingers tapped the console. "There's a commie relay station in neutral space, old but still functional. If we can get there, we can broadcast your mother's evidence to the entire galaxy. No one can stop a transmission that big once it's sent." Sarai's eyes lit with a flicker of hope. "Then that's where we go." The relay station floated alone near the edge of a dying sun's gravity well, its massive dish arrays aimed at the heavens. It looked abandoned, but Liam knew it still had enough power to do the job. They docked quietly, slipping through the airlock into the cold, silent corridors. Dust floated in the air, disturbed by their movement. Lights flickered. Weakly, as they made their way to the control center, Liam set the data core on the main console. "Once we start the upload, it'll take a few minutes. We have to hold out until it finishes." Sarai nodded, moving to the auxiliary controls to start powering the station's transmitters. The hum of old machinery filled the room, and lines of code scrolled across the display. "Upload ready," she said. "Just say when." Liam took a deep breath. "Do it." The data core activated, projecting a soft blue light across the room. Files began transferring. Videos, documents, intercepted communications. Each one painted the same picture. The Lunari High Council stealing resources, silencing dissent, and using hunters to crush anyone who opposed them. The progress bar crawled upward, 10%, 15%. Then the station's sensors blared a warning. Liam glanced at the display. "They're here." Through the dusty control room window, they could see 3 hunter ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel, their black hulls glinting in the weak light of the dying sun. "How long until the upload finishes?" Liam asked. 5 minutes, Sarai said, her voice tense. "Then we just need to last 5 minutes." The first hunter boarding craft latched onto the station's hull. Heavy footsteps echoed through the outer corridors. Liam drew his sidearm and moved to the entrance. "Stay behind the console," he told Sarai, "and keep that upload going." The door hissed open, and 2 hunters stepped inside. Liam fired a warning shot, forcing them to dive for cover behind an equipment rack. They returned fire, blue energy bolts searing the wall near his head. Liam ducked behind a console and shouted, "You can still walk away!" The hunters didn't answer. More footsteps thundered closer. Sarai's hands flew over the controls, her eyes flicking between the upload progress and the security feed. "Liam, more are coming from the east corridor." "Great," Liam muttered. "We'll throw them a welcome party." He grabbed a portable power cell from the wall and hurled it down the east corridor. When the hunters stepped into view, he shot the cell, triggering a small explosion that knocked them back. The upload ticked upward. 60%. 70%. A shadow fell across the doorway. The tall Lunari man from the mining station stepped inside, flanked by 2 more hunters. His voice was calm, almost friendly. "Sarai," he said, "give me the core, and this ends now." "You mean you kill me quickly instead of slowly?" she shot back. The man sighed. "Your mother was a dreamer. She thought truth could change the galaxy. She was wrong." Liam stood between them. "Funny thing about the truth. It doesn't care if you believe in it or not. It just needs to be seen." The man's eyes hardened. "Then you'll die showing it." The hunters advanced, and the room erupted into chaos. Liam fired, forcing them to scatter. Sarai grabbed a heavy wrench from the console and swung it at one hunter who got too close, knocking his weapon away. The upload reached 90%. Liam's sidearm hissed on empty. He ducked behind a console, grabbing a fallen hunter's weapon. The Lunari leader lunged toward the core, but Sarai stepped in his path. "You'll have to go through me." For a moment, they stared at each other, her small frame against his towering presence. Then he moved, but Liam was faster, tackling him sideways. The impact knocked them both to the floor. Liam struggled to keep hold of the hunter's wrist as the man tried to bring his weapon around. Sarai dashed to the console, shielding it with her body. The progress bar hit 100%. The station's speakers crackled, and a deep tone filled the air. The sound of a galactic-wide broadcast being sent. Across hundreds of systems, the truth was spilling out. The High Council's secrets were no longer secrets. The Lunari leader froze, realization dawning on his face. "What have you done?" Sarai met his gaze. "What my mother wanted." The hunters hesitated. Their orders had been to stop the truth from spreading, but now it was too late. One by one, they began backing toward the exit. Liam pushed himself to his feet, breathing hard. "You can tell your masters they've lost." The Lunari leader's eyes burned with quiet fury, but he said nothing. He turned and left, his footsteps fading into the distance. Minutes later, the Silver Gull undocked from the relay station. In the cockpit, Sarai sat quietly, staring out at the stars. "It's done," Liam said. "The galaxy knows." She nodded slowly. "But my home isn't free yet. There will be chaos. Power struggles. Then you'll need allies," Liam said. "And you've got one right here." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "I told you I'd stay close." Liam returned the smile. "And I told you I'd keep you safe." The Silver Gull turned toward the open void, engines flaring. They had won the first battle, but their journey together was just beginning.